Hi everyone, it's Dr. Lepore, and I wanted to go through lesson 2 with you today. So just some goals for our lesson is that with lesson 2, I'm hoping that you're able to describe some of the common dysfunctional beliefs about career development and identify the ones that you have so you can start to correct them. We're going to be talking about design thinking, which is a proactive stance where we're actually making a decision on what we want as an outcome and then designing backwards, basically, how we're going to work towards it. You should be able to explain the process of career management, understanding that we live in a time where you do not pick a job when you are in high school, get that job when you graduate high school, and spend your entire life working for the same company, doing the same type of work. We live in a world where that's really not possible. And, it actually sounds kind of boring too. So career management is a continuous process where we're always thinking about this. You're going to look at some of the broad trends in the job market and the implications for your specific career. So be prepared to do some research. And you're going to describe some of the principles and procedures of adaptive learning, okay, including a growth mindset. Growth mindsets are really important, so hold on for that one. All right, so some discussion topics. These are the types of things we want to talk about. We want to talk about dysfunctional beliefs. Dysfunction just means that they are not helpful, and they do not work well. We're going to talk about the importance of continuous and adaptive learning. I have studied learning my entire career. That is my field. And the reality is that we live in a time where we have to continually learn. It's not going to be pushed in front of us. It's not going to be set on us, as it is in K-12, by people outside of us. It is going to be on us to learn. And, the thing about getting a degree, you can take a test and pass it and still not have learned anything. But does that really work for you? Because when you get into a position and you have to use it, you're not going to have what you need. So tests are important because they do help you to prepare for the future and identify gaps and build good study habits, learning habits. But really, if they do not demonstrate that you have these skills and can hold on to them, it's going to be a problem for you, not for the piece of paper you are. And we're going to talk about how to use your time to become an expert adaptive learner. Fancy words, right? All right, so 3 dysfunctional beliefs about your career. Number 1 is that you must have a passion. Okay, look. The student I was at 18 wanted to be an artist. I loved art. I don't know if it was actually a passion. I'm not sure if I have a passion, but I have an awful lot of things I really, really, really care about. So I don't have to have a passion. And you know what? A lot of people I know who are successful, they don't feel passionately about their job, but they feel satisfaction in what they do. Another dysfunctional belief is, you should know what you want to do by now. Well, the reality is, no, you shouldn't, because we don't even know what the world will look like in January. Okay? You should know what you're interested in learning. You should have gotten a sense of where your talents lie and your interests lie. But the idea of knowing what I want to do every day, now, that's not realistic. It's dysfunctional to think that way. And then this idea of being the best possible version of you. Okay, look, I want you to be a happy person who is satisfied with their life and feels good about themselves and the work they do when they go to sleep at night. But we can't be the best possible version of you because, that's not even a possible thing. So you don't have to be the best possible version of you. You just want to be a version of you today that you are comfortable with and feel good about. Okay? So let's think about this. We don't have to feel passionately and know what we want and focus constantly on being the best version of ourselves. We can work towards the life, though, that we want. So wicked problems are fascinating. Wicked problems are these enduring issues, things that we have that we've never, ever answered. What came first, the chicken or the egg, is a wicked problem. Okay? So choosing a career falls in a wicked problem because we don't have all the data we need. And you know what? We never will. We can only get what we can and work with what we have. Please know that humans are terrible at predicting what's going to make them happy in the future. We are so bad about this. We can probably do it in a moment. Like, I know if I have a cup of tea right now, that's going to make me happy. But really, what's going to make me happy in 3 months? No, I'm really not good at that. I could probably predict what might make me unhappy. But happiness is a lot harder. Okay? It's a complex, multivariate, meaning it has tons and tons of variables decision process. So the way we tackle something like this, instead of giving up, is work with this idea of design thinking. The first one is we need to connect the dots. What are the things? The things that made me gravitate towards the arts in high school are still out there. They're still part of my life. Okay? So you want to develop empathy and start connecting the dots between you and other things, you and careers, you and people. There's a lot of places to connect the dots. Connecting the dots between me as now and me back then. Okay? We want to start thinking about the problem and the many lives that we're going to have, and prototyping, which is this idea of we try it, and then we fix it, and then we test it to make sure it's working. Okay? So this is just more diagrams about how we can go through this in stages instead of in one specific process that leads us to the right answer. Because remember, this isn't a puzzle where I have a board for you or a picture. This is something that we're going to change and modify as we go through life. So success, whether it's in education, career, or otherwise, has to do with regulating, adapting, and learning. Meaning that you have to be able to regulate how you work, how you think, how you feel. You're constantly assessing it, okay? Adapting it, and then learning and starting the process again. I know this sounds like a lot of work, guys, but you're going to learn how to do this, okay? We're going to cover it here, and you're going to be practicing this forever. So the good news is you don't have to be an expert on it because you have an entire lifetime to practice. So one thing to know is that these things are super important in the wake of COVID. Change is affecting all of our professions. Right? Professors used to only teach in the classrooms. Now we teach online, and we're being challenged to do even more. So many things, but there's other things coming at us too. We have artificial intelligence. A lot of this is technology driven. I could bore you to sleep any day of the week talking about that, so I'm just going to leave it there. Just know things are changing, and changing faster than ever. So our old model was we had one dream, we picked it out at 18, that was what we did for the rest of our lives till we retired, got a gold watch, that was it. Now it's not what we got anymore. Okay? We have to think about what is it we value, what is it we're good at, and what is it that there's a market for. This is our new model, and we can change these three things as we go along. All three will change constantly. Okay? And this means we have to think differently about job satisfaction. Job satisfaction is going to bed at the end of the day knowing I did okay today. You know, what I did today had value. But another way to look at it is to say, what is it I value? What is it I'm good at? What is there a market for, right? If I can find a position that fills my purpose, uses my strengths, and pays me a living wage, I'm going to feel satisfied in my job. There's more to it, but this is a good way to start. You know, I can tell you as a college professor, I know I value people and I value learning and I value connection. What am I good at? Well, I'm good at reading a lot of stuff and telling people what it means, but I'm also good at giving feedback and communicating. What is there a market for? Well, it turns out that sets you up to be a college professor. Among other things, learning designer, all the other titles that I hold as well. But is this something to start thinking about? Where do these fall? Maybe pause for a second now, and I want you to draw this diagram, the Venn diagram, and I want you to fill it in. So pause and come back. All right, I hope you did that. Right? Because sometimes it illuminates things you've never thought about. And we can always talk about that during the course. Okay? So continuing back on this theme of what do we have to do, becoming an expert adaptive learner is the single most important thing you could do for your future self at Rutgers. I can't scream this enough. Okay? The thing that you need to take away from your college education is how to learn as an expert. Not an expert in your field, but as an expert learner. This is my passion. Oh, we're going to talk about this. I'm going to stop there again because this is going to be a 20,000-minute video. But really, think about this. This is the most important thing that you can do in your undergrad years. Okay, so what you're looking at here is just a couple of diagrams that have been put together just to kind of give you an idea of how careers could work. I would pause this, read over it, look at the different types of things that you might want to pay attention to, okay? Because these are models about today's workplace. This is what we used to do. This is what we do now. Life is getting messier. So back to this adaptive learning, some qualities. I'm telling you, I could talk all day about this, is lifelong learners ask for help from experts, and they use mental models to learn more quickly and effectively. They don't just sit and look at a book. They've got strategies. They're ready. They don't expect things to be easy, but they enjoy the learning process. That doesn't mean it's fun time, but it means that at the end of it, they feel good about it. Lifelong adaptive learners learn from their mistakes, and they keep going unless something doesn't fit, and then they switch. So one of the things you start thinking about is this idea of anxiety and boredom, which kind of describes what's been going on for the last 6 months. I'd put in a little bit of trauma and terror into this too. But what we're looking for is that place in between where we haven't veered into, I'm so anxious I can't perform, and I'm so bored that I don't want to perform, but this area where we are in the moment and we feel good. That's what we're aiming for. And you want to think about that. What classes have helped you feel that way? What kind of meetings, interactions on campus, both online and off, what has actually got you into this flow state? Okay? And you can read about flow state online. It's fascinating, some of the research. All right, I could talk all day, but let's end it here. So some key points to remember: we are prone to faulty thinking, okay? And we're not always aware of it. We don't always see the errors in our own logic. So you have to accept this, and the solution is taking this active, exploratory, adaptive, lifelong learning process and building it in. All righty, so things to do: you're going to have a career problems assignment, and you should be setting up your e-portfolio so we can keep track of it. Don't worry about the due date. Remember, go by Blackboard. I'm sorry, Canvas. I haven't taught Blackboard in years. Canvas. I will see you online. Have a great day, everybody.